Merry Christmas, Low Gang, and for my international followers, Happy Holidays. By the time I realized I wanted to put out something for Christmas, I didn't really have enough time to put together a whole 20-minute analysis of like the Polar Express or something. So today I thought I'd give you a little tier list ranking different Santa Claus variants throughout all of space and time. These are Santas from various movies that I like with various interpretations of the lore. First off, I figure we should start off with the classic, the Coca-Cola propaganda Santa Claus. Now this one's the classic. It's kind of the template that all Santa Clauses post whenever this came out are based on. So, you got to give it points for that. It's a long time classic. However, it is corporate propaganda, so I think I'll put him B tier. Next Santa on the list. Before there was Solo, before there was Cruella, there was Santa Claus is Coming to Town. So this one is, of course, another classic. It's a must-watch every Christmas. All of the Rankin Bass movies are, timeless masterpieces. For this one, I'm going to give the music a 9 out of 10. A lot of bops that you can throw it back to.
It's a difficult responsibility.
Characterization, I'm going to give it a solid 10 out of 10. It's an excellent origin story for a definitive Santa Claus. Visuals, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. The animation was very revolutionary for the time. So this guy, I think, deserves S tier, an S tier Santa. And the next Santa that we're going to look at is the one featured in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. In theory, it's in the same universe, but I don't agree with that. The Santa is kind of an asshole towards Rudolph, and I don't like that. I've never really understood why Santa is contributing to bullying this child for looking different.
Great bouncing iceberg. Now, I'm sure it'll stop as soon as he grows up, Santa.
Well, let's hope so if he wants to make the sleigh team someday.
And, I know the story is like about why racism is bad or something. Which I agree with. But why is Santa the bad guy in it? I guess it kind of confuses the message. Because, normally you're supposed to be on Santa's side. He's, the good guy. Also, this Santa is definitely a TERF. I'm going to put this one, no surprise, D tier. And the next Santa that we're going to look at is one of my personal favorites. It's Kurt Russell's version of Santa from the Christmas Chronicles. Now, outside of the Rankin Bass movies, I think this is possibly the definitive Santa Claus, or at least the closest that we'll get to a definitive Santa Claus. It's straight out of the comics adaptation. This Santa I would put on the same level as Chris Reeve's Superman. And pros for this movie, it's a good Netflix original Christmas movie. I also want to talk about the particular brand of Christmas magic in this movie, because every Christmas movie has some version of Christmas magic. This one, it's sort of like a Tinkerbell thing where if not enough people believe in him, then he loses power. So at one point, Santa gets put in jail. This is a great movie. Please watch it. I know that out of context, it's weird, but Santa's in jail for stealing a car. Watch the movie, please. And since morale is getting low, this is the night of Christmas, and two kids hijacked his sleigh and crashed it in Chicago. Watch the movie. It's really good. So Santa is in jail. He's not giving out presents. Morale is low. So what he does to raise Christmas spirit and thus his power level is he starts a music number, a sort of jailhouse rock, if you will. He pulls instruments out of nowhere. It's his brand of Christmas magic. He pulls out what people have wanted since forever. It's used throughout the movie. And he starts a music number in the jail cell. They sing Santa Claus is Back in Town, the greatest Christmas song to ever sexualize Santa. Because, all right, Santa Baby sexualizes Santa, but it's ooh, Santa, you're sexy or whatever, buy me stuff. But this song, it's Santa's taking back his sexuality. He's yeah, I'm Santa, whatever, deal with it. I'm back in town. You want to get Denny's or something? I love this movie so much. Anyway, also, at another point, this is also while Santa's in jail. He's being interrogated for, his crimes, and he pulls the ultimate Chad power move.
I'm about at the end of my rope here.
Me too.
and he just pulls out like toys like that the guy interrogating him has like wanted every year since he was a kid. He just pulls them out one by one, and this guy's like, "What is this? Some kind of sleight of hand trick?" And I'm like, what kind of David Copperfield shit do you think people would be capable of pulling? Like, anyway, and then Santa's like, "Call Lisa. She wants to hear from you again." And he's like, "How the fuck do you know about Lisa?" I love this movie so much. Please watch it. And for cons, I guess the elves in the movie feel a little minion-y. Visuals, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. The effects are fine. It came out like a couple years ago, so we've kind of worked out CGI for the most part. So, there's no glaring issues with that. Again, the elves kind of weigh it down for me, I think. And characterization, another 10 out of 10. I think this is actually a more worthy sequel to Santa Claus is Coming to Town than Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So I guess it goes without saying, this is going to be another S-tier Santa. Next up, we'll take a look at the Polar Express's version of Santa. He isn't really heavily featured in the movie. It's more just a cameo. He's more of an idea, like Batman. Now, as far as my thoughts on the Polar Express as a movie go, the visuals... Detail is an 8 out of 10. Quality is a 2 out of 10. It feels like a pre-rendered cutscene, but for like the PlayStation 2. So it's this weird in-between area. It feels like the CGI from like the Animatrix. It's cutting edge, but it's like cutting edge for 20 years ago, which I guess makes sense because it's from 20 years ago. Music, 10 out of 10. We stand an Aerosmith cameo. It's, again, music you can throw it back to. The lore, I'd give an 8 out of 10. The conductor of the train feels like a sort of unsettling guardian, sort of like the owl librarian from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I appreciate the depiction of the North Pole and the elves in this movie. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it feels like this monument to consumption. And seeing it abandoned the way it is in the movie makes it feel eerie and off-putting, which I like if it is a social commentary thing. If it's not, still cool. And the elves are basically Amazon workers too, which I think is a neat touch. They're just people doing their jobs. They existed probably before Santa, and they will exist long after him. They're not like these jolly woodland creatures whose sole purpose is to like make little kids happy. I like that it feels like there's more to them than just that. As for Santa himself, he seems a little too godly for my taste. He kind of gives Dumbledore vibes. And I will say it does sort of play into my interpretation of the movie, where Santa, the conductor, and the homeless guy on the train are like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. I haven't really worked it all out. Maybe next year I'll make a full analysis of the movie. But anyway, weighing it all out, I guess I'd put this Santa at somewhere between a B and a C tier. He's kind of a vanilla Santa, and that's all that he was really supposed to be. But still, as a Santa, nothing really special. I think I will put him at C tier. So far, he's the second lowest rated. He's a little better than Turf Santa, but a little worse than Corporate Santa. So Santa's Sleigh is a 2005 horror documentary about the dangers of dealing with the devil. So it stars an ex-pro wrestler as Santa, and this version is a bit of a departure lore-wise. This is one, without going to spoilers too much, this is a Santa that is sort of this is a Santa that's a sort of reverse Jesus. Instead of the son of God, he's the son of Satan. So this guy just loves killing anything, really.
Santa?
Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
I mean, you can look up the opening scene on YouTube. I think that does a great job of sort of explaining the movie. It sets the tone really well. It shows you what you're in for with this movie. If you want like a cult classic-y kind of campy murder fest starring Santa Claus, this movie's got you covered. And I know he's not the most definitive version of the character, but this is another solid S tier. And speaking of movies where Santa's the bad guy,
You look pretty good for your age.
Thanks, but I'm seeing someone in wrapping.
next up is Tim Allen's The Santa Claus. This movie was sort of weird to rewatch. It feels like a lot of time is spent fat-shaming Santa. which I didn't understand even in universe. Like, he wasn't even full Santa yet, and people were like, "You're fat. Quit that."
You're starting to look like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
But yeah, Tim Allen is a surprisingly decent Santa. You know, he's not the most definitive version of the character. I still think Kurt Russell is a way better, I guess, contemporary reimagining of Santa. In visuals, I'm going to give a 2 out of 10 just because it came out in 1994 and the CGI was... bad. Like, I'll show some examples on screen, but there are a couple of parts where you see like Santa's sleigh, not the movie, the object, on screen, like taking off and landing, and it looks like a GIF. It looks like the level of effects you'd see in like a Saturday Night Live skit, which for them it's understandable. It's low budget and it's made in like a week, but for this, it seems like even for the time, it was just bad. The saving grace, though, I will say, is seeing Tim Allen's body rapidly decay on screen. That was portrayed pretty well. We've all been there. The lore, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. I want to see more deicide explored in media. I like the idea that you can kill a holiday figure and take their place. And I would love to see more of that explored. But anyway, I'm going to give this version of Santa Claus... I'm feeling generous. All right, A tier. This is an A tier Santa. If you want to leave an angry comment disagreeing, you're right. And a quick little honorable mention, Sumpin' Claus, he's a character from an SNL skit.
Everybody's getting something.
That isn't terrible. So he's got that going for him. No, I like the music video. It's a fun little thing. There's not a lot to say about this version of Santa, but yeah, I'm gonna give this an A tier. You know, if Tim Allen gets to be A tier, so does Sumpin' Claus. Actually, that reminds me. I'm gonna give this other one an A tier also, not because of the Santa, because I love the sketch. It's I'll put the title on screen, but it's the one where Ryan Gosling and Vanessa Bayer, I think, just get really horny for Santa. I love that sketch more than most people I've met.
I want to meet Rudolph.
Rudolph isn't here, Gina.
Then how the did Santa get here, David?
All right, now that we've got the honorable mentions out of the way, the last one that we're going to look at in this video is Klaus from the movie Klaus. It's another Netflix original, and it's a very good movie. It's sort of another origin story for Santa, but it's sort of an Elseworld story. Without going into too much detail, because it's a really good movie and you should go into it mostly blind. It's about a mail carrier who is exiled to an island where he has to set up a post office there because he's bad at his job. And then he meets this guy that likes to make toys, and they do Santa. They do Santa stuff.
You were meant for making toys. So I figured if you donate your old toys, I'll deliver them for free.
Watch it. Please watch it. This is, of course, solid S tier. If you've seen this movie, you know why. If you haven't, see it. All right, and there's the completed, definitive Santa Claus tier list. If you have any differing opinions, if you disagree with my list, make your own. It's not that hard. But this is the definitive list. This is objectively correct. Like and subscribe, leave a nice comment, nice comments only. If you dislike the video, YouTube says you can't do that anymore. I have a podcast because of course I do, so go check that out, link in description. And have the day that you think you should have.